267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
It's officially the merry season, and B101, Philly's official Christmas station, is your home for holiday music. Spinning the biggest and best festive tracks all day long, now through Christmas Day.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Do they know?
Get your holiday fix on the radio at 101.1 FM. Ask your smart speaker to play B101 Philly, or listen on the go with the free Odyssey app.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
The current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty, and Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son, he would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there?
Ooh, all the king and all the king's men, Humpty Dumpty, fell off the wall along with all the media, who, of course, it was media manipulation and malpractice going along with it. Good morning, Dan Borowski, the best. Put together that little mix, and we'll talk about all of it. Hunter Biden, the pardon. We'll talk about Trump and Elon and the family. I guess they were doing YMCA, having a blast at Mar-a-Lago. I love the images, and Dan recreating that and the irony of all of it, my friends. And then, did you know, it's Dan Borowski's birthday, which was Friday, but we're going to celebrate all this week.
Oh, come on. No.
Yeah, it's the Borowski birthday bash. So if you have a memory of Dan, you've worked here like 10 years, right?
It's been that long, yeah.
So a great Dan Borowski memory. So we're celebrating the Borowski birthday. This is officially the first week of December. Even though your birthday was Friday, we're going to celebrate this week.
Well, it's very kind of you, Dawn, but the thing is, I do have full control over the phones. So
Jimmy Kelly, you got to do a bypass. And then I got a frantic call from a relative. Well, I'm not going to name names, but got a frantic call who said, Larry and I got the call. You're not going to buy, I'll bleep out the name of the certain 10-year-old who said, yeah, well, Mom, Dad, that Larry and I were going to buy them the watch, the Apple Watch.
Oh, yeah?
And so she says, you're not really going to do that. She wants a watch, but it can't be an Apple Watch because she doesn't have a phone, and we don't want her to have a phone because they're going through that.
Okay.
Like the whole smartphone debate. So I would love to put that out there during gift buying season. What gifts are off limits? And let's say you're buying a gift for somebody else's. Let's say you're a godparent, a grandparent, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's you're in a blended family, so it's, you're divorced and your spouse think that your kid should have fill in the blank, but then the other one doesn't. Do you have, those kind of conflicts in buying gifts. So I'd like to put that out there, 855-839-1210. The whole thing with the smartphone and the age.
And a lot of Amazon Alexa conversation can be had.
Yes.
Are we nervous of that still, or are we just kind of accepted that into our lives at this point?
Yeah, I think people have accepted that because you can get around it. I just unplug it. I just have it unplugged. And then poor Larry Bear, he's like, who unplugged the thing? We wants to play music. I'm like, just plug it back in.
I know this is where we were going to go, but I do have a couple of gifts to kids of parents that you hate.
Ooh.
Yeah, you want that now or you want that later? How about go ahead. Later?
No, you go ahead.
I got glitter, if you want glitter.
Glitter.
Yeah, I'm sure parents would love that. Noisy things. Those toys that have the loud-ass noises that the parents can't turn off? Things that need to be stored. How about big things? A giant I have like a 5-foot teddy bear that I got from Anne-Marie Muldoon in my basement. I don't know. I've been trying to get rid of it for a while. And we were thinking about doing that for a white elephant, just bringing a giant teddy bear, wrapping it, and thinking someone's going to get a big gift, and it's just a terrible thing. Things that are for older, younger child than the giftee that they can't play with. Weapons or any other items that parents have specifically forbidden, like smartphones.
Or a gun.
Yes.
Like a hunting rifle.
Yes, especially after what we saw. You could be held accountable for that. Choking hazards, things with millions of tiny parts, highly gendered gifts if the parents aren't into that. Is that really something you got to look out for in the holiday season?
I have a dear friend
Yeah.
and her sister-in-law had said, don't buy my daughter dolls.
No, really?
We're not going to and it was like, oh.
So you got to look out for that in today's age?
Yeah.
All right, so if you have like a girl that's 10 years old, you don't buy her Barbie?
Well,
or is that too old for Barbie now?
My rule of thumb is if they want a Barbie, get them a Barbie. But then the problem is their parent going to take it away from them? It'll be like a bad Barbie situation. Then they'll be in therapy 20 years from now saying, my uncle and auntie bought me a Barbie. My mom beheaded it. You know what I mean? And then they're like in therapy for the rest of it. Just give it up, people.
Yeah, that's sad. And then two more things. Something that'll create a chore expense for the parents, such as, the slime or kinetic sand that I once got from my brother, and now I feel bad for doing so. And finally, anything living, like a pet or a gerbil, hamster, dog. Not a good idea unless you check with those parents first.
Yeah, this is true. I've already had the glitter lecture from, I'll say, Stacia. Stacia's, I know she's listening right now. And she smiles when you say glitter.
Yeah.
So I'll just, like Larry and I'll just get the glitter projects, and you can do it at my house. Do you know what I mean? So you can just do it that way. Just say if there's a...
Do you really want to clean up all that glitter, though?
I don't care.
Really?
You got to have glitter.
Yeah?
What's life without a little glitter? I know, it's a mess, but just do it out on the patio or something.
Yeah.
Do it in the basement, whatever. The best thing with the glitter, if you go in the basement, then just get your leaf blower. That's what I do. Legos, glitter.
In your basement?
Yeah.
Where do you blow it to?
Outside.
Okay. All right, so you have a walkout basement.
Yeah.
I thought you just had like an underground basement. You're just blowing it into the corner.
No, just open it up. Well, you could do that too. Just open up that Chapman windows doors, the bbig sliding doors, and just blow it right outside.
That's great.
All the environmentalists are going to call me up and go, what are you doing? So I have the Broad and Liberty, Todd Shepard they do great investigative work. And so they're looking at the suburban budgets, and it's always important to keep the receipts. And one suburb, their taxes, your taxes already went up 5% since the Democrats are in control. And now the latest word is 28% tax hike. I'll tell you which suburb. You can guess maybe which one. But you have to wish Dan Borowski happy birthday all week. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Okay, really quick here. President-elect Trump reacting to President Joe Biden's surprise. Was it a surprise to anybody? Decision to pardon his son Hunter. I knew this was coming, predicted it. We knew this was right. We knew, even though that thou dost protest too much, and Dan played all the pundits.
And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
Right. Not so much. It's one thing to say, President Biden says, and to quote him, it's one thing to do that and say, well, allegedly he's not going to pardon him. But it just shows how in all of these individuals, what a bubble they live in, that they really believed he was going to live by the rule of law. Are you kidding me?
I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
Not so much. So now as Jonathan Turley called him, the liar in chief. But I would just say, Greg Stocker and I, we both agreed that if that's your kid who was a drug addict and it was a nonviolent situation, he didn't hurt. There was no violence whatsoever. He bought a gun and in his book was kind of the smoking gun, ironically, pun intended there. But I will just say this, that Trump suggesting that Biden should have pardoned the January 6th, the J6 protesters is telltale, because this is, and if you didn't see the Truth Social last night, Trump says, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? So it's going on 4 years, right? This January, it's going to be 4 years, by the way. And then Trump wrote, such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. So the biggest thing that I smile, because I knew that Joe would pardon his son because it's his son. And his only living son. So I knew that he was going to do it. And the worst thing is that he lied. He lied. They all lied. And he knew that he was going to do it. Okay. But so the biggest news for me personally out of this was that it tells you that I think January 20th, day one, I think Trump is going to start with the pardons of the J6ers. Now they've said that they're going to go case by case, but reportedly there were celebrations, as you can imagine, among the J6ers in prison. Their family members are saying that they're celebrating, and that their loved ones behind bars are celebrating. Some of these young men who they talk about being broken, sobbing before a judge. And so some of these individuals sobbing and begging and pleading, did nothing violent, walked in, they trespassed, they were there, but they were never convicted or charged with any violence whatsoever. To put them behind bars for like 10 to 16 years for a nonviolent offense, it's overreach, it's ridiculous. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210, whether or not you think that Trump will begin those pardons. I think that yes, he absolutely will.
I do have Turley audio if you want that.
Yeah, let's hear Jonathan Turley, who's the scholar who you hear on Fox.
This brings to mind the same type of familial action taken by Bill Clinton, who pardoned his brother in his final days of office. And it also shows a degree of contempt for the American people. This is a president who didn't just simply lie about not ever speaking to his son's business associates, of never being in meetings with them, but he lied repeatedly to the American people when he was a candidate for re-election. And he was asked repeatedly, as he was, about meeting his son's clients, and denied that he would do that. And he has now violated that pledge.
Right. So again, I'm not surprised, but he should not have promised this. And I think all along, of course, he was going to pardon his only living son. Of course he was. It was just so obvious to me. So why would you double down and triple down? He was, I want to say he was interviewed by, it was like ABC News. It was just this, within the past 3 weeks, I'll say. And Biden, again, just kept lying. Like, nope, not going to do it, not going to do it. And then finally says, basically, and the other thing is, he basically endorsed Trump saying that DOJ has weaponized government. So he's going out in defiance, and that's what this is. He's saying, yeah, DOJ, weaponization of government. And so he's endorsing what Trump has been saying.
Here's that June ABC News.
Okay, June.
Here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
And so he's ruled out the pardon? Not so much. Here we are. And what is the media reporting on? And this is really rich. So the media is saying, well, Trump pardoned his family member, the father of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Okay, who, by the way, over the weekend, he tapped him to serve as ambassador to France. So this is New Jersey. So technically, I'm saying it's a local story. New Jersey real estate developer Charles Kushner. Okay, so did Trump sign the pardon for? It's Ivanka and her husband, right? It's Ivanka's husband's father, Charles Kushner, who was famous in New Jersey. This was Chris Christie, by the way. And so, this was in December of 2020, outgoing, and he writes the pardon. The difference, I'm going to say, with this is that Kushner had, it was a blue-collar thing involving a family business deal gone bad. Christie went after him, and Charles Kushner, by the way, was a donor, big Democrat donor. Chris Christie went after him, shackled him. At the time, I always said, wow, why would, did the perp walk with him for what? And so it's the reason that Chris Christie will never and has never worked in the White House, right? But as far as Charles Kushner, that was something where it was basically removing a title. He had already served. He went to prison. He went to federal prison. It was a business, white collar thing. And by the way, his son at the time, Jared, was early 20s, and would go visit his dad in federal prison, would make that drive, and then took over the family company, kind of grew up fast. But in this one, the media is saying, well, Trump, he also pardoned family members. Give me a break. There's no comparison because 15 years after it was said and done and the sentence was done and all of that. But this is preventing Hunter Biden from ever going to prison. So it's a big difference. By the way, yes, Charles Kushner over the weekend, the father of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, will serve as ambassador to France. Got to go. All right, we have a lot of news today. Oh, my goodness, we have to get through so much. And your opinions on Trump, especially 855-839-1210, all of the latest. We've talked about them all morning, so we'll get to all of that. Your calls. We got great guests. Don't go anywhere.
You have key decisions to make about your money. Most investors don't beat the market, and neither do the hedge funds, who take a share of your profits. What if there was another way? A way for you to keep total control over your money where the interests were aligned. That's what the exclusive crash-proof retirement system is all about.
Mike Bizaccia here from Logan Township, New Jersey. You can't follow the market because nobody can predict it. What you have today could be gone tomorrow. That's the way it works, up and down, and your money goes up and down. That's what led me to see if there was another alternative. Crash-proof retirement gave me that alternative. With crash-proof retirement, the money you make is credited to your account, and that money's yours. No ifs, ands, or buts, no worries. No fees. We had a high point of 13.5%. Once it's credited, it's your money to keep. That's a big deal.
Schedule an appointment by calling 1-800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Roofing or siding issues? Don't wait. Call Emmons Roofing and Siding.
We provide comprehensive roofing and siding services with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. And our warranties ensure peace of mind for you and your family.
Protect your home with the best warranties available in the industry.
Call Emmons at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years.
He was in big trouble.
We're going to take your house, garnish your pay.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm.
I don't owe the IRS anymore. It was because of Optima Tax.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
Shop Dell Technologies Cyber Monday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Cyber Monday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
So just updating you on some of the news of the day. SEPTA Fairs Day 2 underway as SEPTA Fairs are hiked. We'll talk about that this morning, and it's really about budgets and COVID money drying up and school children. We'll talk about that moving forward. California Governor Gavin Newsom, I want to get this in here, will convene his state legislature for a special emergency session today, and he wants to Trump-proof he wants to do a Trump-proof legal defense fund of up to $25 million for the state's Justice Department. He says that the Golden State is a tentpole of the nation, protecting and investing in rights and freedoms for all people. Or is he just doing this for himself? We also have in New York City, by the way, Daniel Penny's subway trial, that chokehold trial, whatever you want to call it, resumes today with attorneys expected to start their closing arguments after the Thanksgiving Day break. 26-year-old architecture student, Marine Corps veteran. He faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted of this manslaughter charge of the death of Jordan Neely, 30-year-old mentally ill, homeless guy who was high, we know, on drugs and had started screaming threats at passengers, and in particular, an elderly lady. And Neely jumped in. And I should say that Neely had an arrest warrant out for him at the time. I should point that out to you. So Daniel Penny came to the rescue. Was he a hero, or will he spend 15 years behind bars, which I think is, maybe Trump would pardon him if that happens.
Just to counter or show the stark differences between the outgoing administration and the incoming, I have commentary from Pete Hegseth, the nominee for Secretary of Defense, if you want to hear that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
the person who took that punch that you're talking about could have been Jordan Neely. I mean, he had over 40 priors, cold cocking people on the subways. This is the kind of guy that got violent often and quickly. And Will, when you say we need more Daniel Pennies, you're right. You know why? Because he wasn't trying to kill anybody. He was a protector.
Yes.
He went into a chokehold. Then, while he was still breathing, released it into a resting position because he didn't want to kill the guy. And the passengers around him are thanking him. And these are, again, New York City passengers used to lunatics on the subway, but don't want to actually be threatened in that process. The fact that he's a Marine will be used against him by the prosecution.
Which is
to
a
say
sin.
He's potentially violent, ticking time bomb. You know, all the upsides of being a Marine will be attempted to use. But it also means he knew what he was doing and not trying. If he wanted to kill somebody, he could if he really intended to. He wasn't trying to. He was trying to protect in this instance.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it is a sharp contrast. By the way, Trump, 21 announced nominations for his cabinet, still has 3 open, including the CEA. To me, I do think that Tulsi Gabbard is the one that they're going to go after because she's such a threat. But I think Tulsi, you can see, I always look at the media headlines about her. And so I think Tulsi is one, even more than RFK Jr., although he'll be a flashing point. But which of these cabinet picks, I know we still have 3 to go, do you find to be the most, the ones who who they don't want, even some Republicans? So from the Chief of State, Susie Wiles, Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, I think he'll get through, even though they said he was controversial. He's a senator. Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary. And then you just heard from our nominated Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth. So let me get your take on that, 855-839-1210. We have to take a quick break because Dan has set up an incredible guest. And this is one of a new documentary, Back from the Dead, Who Kidnapped Me, Delamar Vera. So that great interview will be right around the corner. You want to hear about this. Then coming up at 11, I'll let our friend Linda Kearns. We'll talk to her, just kind of do a post, not just a victory lap, but what reforms need to happen, among other things. So we'll look at that with our great friend Linda Kearns, ask her about her holiday, and then take your calls along the way. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Did you know that men across the country are getting their ED meds at TriRexMD.com and saving thousands of dollars? TriRexMD.com has FDA-approved ED meds and is now offering sample packs. Listen to what guys are saying about TriRexMD.com.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
I walk a little taller when I'm using the product, knowing what the results are going to be.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Visit TriRexMD.com. Your consultation is free, there's no copays, no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TriRexMD.com with generics, if appropriate. Visit TriRexMD.com right now to get your sample pack. That's TriRexMD.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-9595. 800-885-9595. Again, that's 800-885-9595.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through Hims.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through Hims.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
It must be nice to not worry about how you're performing in the ratings on television. You're overpaid and you're not worth remotely close to that. Because I got to work in radio where every day is the Super Bowl. But that's fine. Double down, Anna.
Is it possible for these women to have a conversation without them all speaking over one another?
Well, you know what I do now? Since you guys can't stop talking over each other and we've got the 12 of you on the set, because you got so much to say and you won't shut up and let the other person talk. So in order to justify your bloated, worthless salary, we're going 9 to noon.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app. Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. WPHT.
There was a house fire, and a newborn perished in that fire. They found no human remains. There's no body. There's something off here.
I always believe that my daughter is alive, not dead. This woman's crazy. Is it mother's intuition?
She believed her child was living with her kidnapper.
I got kidnapped.
The shocking new miniseries, Back from the Dead, Who Kidnapped Me?
Yes, this is a real-life story. A real-life story that began right here in Philadelphia with that house fire. December of 1996 will take you back. And it was a fire that ravaged a home, gutted the upper bedroom, where a mommy and daddy learned that their 10-day-old little baby daughter, Delamar, was sleeping. It just gives you chill bumps to hear the story of Delamar and to think of a parent, especially a mother's intuition that says, no, I don't believe that. I believe my baby is alive. And then being called crazy. But then, years later, there was a birthday party. And mom says, I recognize that little girl. And so it's an incredible real-life story, like I say, that began with a house fire here in Philadelphia. Want to welcome in that little girl who's now a grown woman and a mom herself, Delamar Vera. Thank you so much for joining me on the Dawn Show here.
Of course. It's nice to meet you, Dawn. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to meet you. Our executive producer, Dan Borowski, wanted to find you. And it's really an incredible Christmas story, holiday story as well, about family and home and your journey throughout all of this and what you had to endure. What do you want people to take away? I hope everybody watches this, but what do you hope that people take away from what you went through?
I think the main message with my story is, one, never give up. Always trust your gut. Thank the Lord that my mom did, because, I'm able to speak to you here today. And I think my main message is to always be strong and don't let your struggles and your trauma define who you are. There is another side. You can make it out and be successful, have a happy marriage, and deserve all of those things, no matter the circumstances.
And at first, so you attended a birthday party, and that your birth mom, your real mom, Luz Cuevas, she attended, saw you. You're now 6 years old, but she looked at you and said, "I think that's my little girl."
Yeah, well, my mom, for one, she never believed that I was dead. And then also, I look exactly like my brothers. I also look just like her. We all have dimples. So as soon as she saw me smile and she saw that little dimple, she said, "Oh, yeah, that's my daughter." And my aunt was telling her, "You're crazy. You're going to get us kicked out. You're going to go to jail." And my mom still pursued it and grabbed that piece of hair.
So when nobody was looking, she got a little strand of hair, had a DNA test run, and then what happened next?
So after that, it was still a struggle because my mom had to find the right people to speak to, and also people who would actually believe her and listen to her. So she did go to the police department. Eventually, she got in touch with Angel Cruz, who actually started the investigation, and it kind of just went from there. I remember going home from that same party and just feeling odd because we had left so quickly. Carolyn, my kidnapper, we left instantly. We got home, and she's like, we need to get out of here. So a couple weeks later, she tells me, she's like, there's this bad lady that really wants to take you away from me, and you're not going to let her take you away, right? And I'm like, oh, no, Mom, I won't let her take me, but I still don't understand, and then we went to do the DNA test, and that's when they took me away from her.
But it must have been traumatic because, in many ways, Carolyn, who's now in jail, but she was your mom. I mean, the only mother you had known. It must have been traumatic for you to learn all of this and then realize the lady. I mean, it's almost like, what is it, the Rapunzel story, right, where she's actually kidnapped by another woman. But, I mean, it's really like the stuff that we hear of horror stories or fairy tale stories. And yet this happened to you. It must have been traumatic.
It was very traumatic. Carolyn is actually no longer in prison. She did 9 years and got 30 years of probation. But it was very traumatic because I still felt a sense of loyalty to my family. And at 6 years old, I still did not grasp what was happening. So I kind of thought that I had, two parents. I had my mother, Luce, and then I had my mother, Carolyn. And then when the years started to pass by, I realized, okay, I'm never going to see her again. And I just kind of had to accept that. But at the same time, I try to acclimate to my family, get to know my brothers, and almost make it seem like I never left.
There's that saying, Delamar, that when we forgive the prisoner we free is ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you been able, I'm sure that you've gone, I can't imagine the emotions you've gone through, and especially as a little girl, but have you been able to forgive Carolyn?
Yes, I have. I did not want to live the rest of my life holding on to that bitterness and resentment. I'm also, really strong in my faith right now, and I know that you have to forgive people not only for yourself, but, for them as well, and to just be able to move on in life. So, yes, I've come to forgive Carolyn.
Were you and maybe your parents ever able to discover, I have a couple of questions. First of all, discover why Carolyn did this, and then whether or not she was accused of setting the fire or took a moment of opportunity.
Unfortunately, that's the big mystery of all. There's so many different angles. Did she have a mental health condition? Did somebody else participate? I know for a fact that she didn't set that fire herself, and she didn't take me out of that window by herself. But unfortunately, we don't know who the accomplices are. I would love to know that because they should be, paying for the consequences as well.
Were you happy that she was sentenced to 30 years with your kidnapping? So you forgave her and you're okay with the fact that she served that time but then was paroled and probably got mental health help?
I think, to be completely transparent, I think that the sentence was a little light, just in my opinion. I think that the damage that was done, I don't think that 9 years is really sufficient. But I hope that with that time, she's had those 9 years to think about it and want to change as a person. The issue is that she still does not seem apologetic for any of that.
Oh, I'm sorry, because that would be, for her to apologize to you and to your parents, I think would be huge for your healing. And that brings me to something that I know in my own life, family members who did lose a child. The death of a child is devastating on parents, obviously, but also on a marriage. And the odds of a married couple staying together when they've gone through the grief of, these are tragic statistics, but I actually have a family member who went through this. The odds are so far against a couple to stay married, and that is tragically, that it looks to me, and you can answer the question, but the impact on your parents, your family, and the devastating impact on all of this for their marriage, right? They ended up divorcing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, my parents were celebrating the birth of their new baby girl.
Oh.
You know, my mom had 2 boys. My father had 2 boys from a previous marriage, so they were just so excited to have their first, baby girl child. So they were happy, at the time that I got kidnapped. And with my mother never believing that I was dead and my dad just trying to accept things, it really, it put a strain to the relationship, and it ultimately ended because of it.
And so for you, what is take us to the today? I mean, obviously you had to go through all of this and discovering that you have brothers, you have a family. What did this, Thanksgiving look like for you? And now you yourself, you're a mommy. So take us through, how it impacts you in your adult life now as a parent. I mean, I will tell you, they tease me about the fact that I wouldn't let my kids do sleepovers or anything like that. I'm a news person covering this stuff. I can't even imagine for you. You know what I mean? Having been through.
I was just going to say that. You took the words out of my mouth, Dawn. I do not let my 11-year-old stepson have any sleepovers unless it's family that we're really close with. If he's playing outside, I'm calling him every hour. You okay? What you up to? Looking out the window. So it definitely made me a lot more overprotective and cautious, just because I know, there's some pretty evil people out there. This past Thanksgiving, we spent it with my husband's side of the family. We have to split holidays now that I'm married, but my mother always has Christmas Eve. That's her preferred holiday. So I'll be going over to her home and spending time with her. But yeah, it's made me overprotective. Even me at 26 years old, my mother is still overprotective with me. If I go out of the country, she's like, put me on your emergency contact. Call me when you get there. Let me know what you're doing. Send me an update every day. I'm like, okay, Mom. But I do it just to set her at ease, and I can understand how she feels now.
And what's your relationship with your brothers? I mean, did they talk about that? Because it must have been traumatic for them too, that their baby sister. So what's your relationship now?
Well, the way that it impacted my oldest brother, Will, he essentially went mute. He did not speak for a really long time due to the trauma of me being kidnapped. My mom told me, he wouldn't speak in school, he wouldn't speak at home. And eventually he started to talk again, but it was really, really traumatic for him. Now as adults, we're all very super close. I call my brothers my best friends, and I feel so blessed to be able to have such great gentlemen, kind, loving people in my life. We talk almost every day.
That's wonderful. It's really beautiful. For you, this documentary, because it's Back from the Dead, Who Kidnapped Me, did you write a book? Was your book The Hand That Robbed the Cradle? Is that what that is? Because I have 2 different titles.
No, I'm in the process of writing a book right now.
Okay.
So I don't have anything released yet. But, I was approached by Wagon Entertainment to do this documentary. And I thought, I'm finally in at a place in my life where I'm ready to talk about this, because I would go back and forth. I've had many opportunities, and I just knew that I wasn't ready. But this time around, I was, because I knew it was going to get dark. We were going to dive into some pretty deep things that I had already addressed in therapy. And I thought, man, do I want to go back to that again? But I have so many people who still follow the story, and I wanted to give them answers. I didn't think that I was going to find answers myself during this process, because it's like, oh, it's my life. I know everything already, but boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, and for you, how did it inspire as far as your career? Because I know that, Philadelphia police still talk about this case. And, I deal in the news business with detectives all the time who always remember these kinds of cold cases, as they're called. For you, did this impact your career path as well?
I'm not really sure. I never really thought about that. I've always had a passion for people.
Mm-hmm.
I love working with people. I love speaking to people. I think that my situation has made me more empathetic. I did want to go into psychology, but I didn't want to do the 10 years of schooling, so I actually work in human resources, which is actually similar. You know, there's kind of a psychological aspect to that as well. I'm a senior talent advisor, so I get to help people find their dream careers. So I love what I do.
Yeah, maybe it's an answer to that. Well, listen, when is the documentary? It's available now, and it's WAG, Back from the Dead, Who Kidnapped Me? So where do we find this, and when does it start? Can you give us the deets?
Unfortunately, right now it's on UTV in the UK in London. So it has not been released in the U.S. yet, but we are getting close to that finish line. So if you just follow me on social media at Delamar_Vera, I will keep everybody posted as to when we will get it released in the U.S.
Well, Delamar Vera, please come back, and especially when you get your book together, you want to talk, we want to keep up to date. But it's an incredible Philadelphia story and I think you have such a positive, amazing attitude. I mean, just God bless you. And an incredible holiday inspirational story.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, Dawn. It was nice chatting with you.
Oh, it was great to talk to you. Delamar Vera, thank you so much.
Take care.
You take care. God bless. Dan, thank you so much for setting her up. That's just it. Kevin Poles sent me that, actually.
Oh, yeah?
It was People Magazine.
Thanks, Kev.
Thank you, Kev. We love you. I still have, I have to. It was so crazy during the election. I had to take his daughter around Chestnut Hill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And then he has some other authors for us.
Wait, you actually you like hang out with Kev?
His daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
or
pretty
Kev
cool.
and his daughter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he's
a really cool
he's
guy.
Good people. He is.
Yeah.
But he had just said, "Oh, this is right up your alley." But I can't even imagine that 10-day-old baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and to think like how what was going through her mind. I mean, she must have felt at 6 years old that she was kidnapped by her actual mother because she was being taken away from what she thought was her mother that entire time and into the hands of a new woman who was actually her mother. It's such a sad story, but it's crazy to see how strong she turned out to be and the woman that she turned into.
Yeah, real inspiration. We got to keep in touch with her for sure. All right, your thoughts, 855-839-1210. We do have Linda Kearns in the 11 o'clock hour. I don't know, maybe Lair Bear will give us a call. At first he said, I don't want to get the tree. We got the tree. Do you have your tree?
I heard he didn't cut it down.
I said, Dan got his tree. Dan and Maisie, right?
Yeah, well, ours is fake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is yours real?
Mine is real.
Yeah?
Yep.
How much was it? Can I ask?
It was the first place we went to for like Douglas firs were like $160. So we're like, oh my goodness. So I think we got a pretty big tree. It was like 110.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot, but there was a drought. So to all the tree people out there that have us on, I understand why the prices are high.
It's a beautiful big Douglas fir.
But to all those tree people, maybe close your ears because I highly suggest fake trees. Everyone I suggested to, once they go fake, they never go back. So.
855-839-1210. Quick break. Be right back.
Hi, everyone. This is Dom Giordano here with my friend and dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Dental Group. Dr. Bentz, we've talked about your cutting-edge, state-of-the-art care. Why is that so vital?
It sure helps me diagnose and elevate the level of care I can offer if I'm using the latest technology. I use it on a normal, everyday basis, and I can see things that it's just missed. It's not misdiagnosed, but you can't see something that your equipment won't allow you to. So I feel that if I can't utilize what's out there, and it takes a lot to be trained on it, feel comfortable, that can work for everyone. Not just these advanced cases, but it gives you a very consistent, efficient, and predictable result.
Dr. Bentz and the team at Bentz Dental Group provide solutions for the most complex dental cases. Call Dr. Bentz today at 610-272-6949 or visit BentzDentalGroup.com. Bentz Dental Group, say it with a smile.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats.
One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
The holiday season is in full swing, and the showcases at Family and Company Jewelers are stocked and ready to go. Do yourself a favor and get to their showroom on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey. Planning to pop the question this year? How about you stuff her stocking with a diamond engagement ring? Or if you just want a little extra action under the mistletoe, you can't go wrong with a pair of diamond stud earrings. Check off your whole list with one stop to Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's holiday diamond destination.
Gerhardt's Appliances has what you need to be tailgate ready this season for the birds. Whether it's the in-home appliances needed to prepare your famous Kelly green pepper casserole before pregame, or the barbecue grills you'll need to fire up the last of your sausage links in the parking lot before kickoff, Gerhardt's has you covered with the best game day deals on appliances. Gerhardt's Appliances, helping Philly sports fans get the season cooking since 1945. Visit Gerhardt'sAppliance.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by calling 844-300-LEAF to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water, and it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Call Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate and to save up to 30%. Dial 844-300-LEAF. That's 844-300-LEAF.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
Did you have any incidents at the holiday table? I did have one.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if I should say this or not.
Oh, we got to hear it.
So it was because there's one relative who's obvious, you always have, whether you have a split family, a blended family, Democrats and Republicans, but we went to one gathering, let's just say, and it was, somebody asked my husband, they just said because usually the rule is don't talk too much about politics, which we don't go around doing. But then somebody asked Larry, hey, Larry, what do you think about the cabinet? And they were chatting. I was talking to another relative who obviously wasn't listening to a thing I was saying. Yeah. And we were engaged in a conversation.
I know those types.
And then all of a sudden they go, I can't take it anymore. And I said, what? What did I say? And they said, no, politics. Larry's talking about politics. So it was one of those things where, you know what I mean? I think it's the cocktail party syndrome.
Well,
what
were they
call
engaging in the political conversation before clamming up and saying that?
No, there was.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't, but I guess they were overhearing because they were sitting right nearby.
Yeah.
And they were just talking about the cabinet.
So
mix.
Did everyone oblige, or did they continue on with the conversation?
I don't even think that the guys were away. They were obtuse to what this particular relative, she just.
Yeah.
So I just changed the sides. Let's go over here. Let me pour you some wine.
What was the topic that Larry had hit that
it was just
triggered
the cabinet
the
picks. It wasn't even, to my knowledge, anything. I just think people are sensitive about it because they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? We are happy. We're doing YMC and we're doing the Trump dance. and the other side's not. So I don't know. Is it gloating to do the why? Like, I did not do a Trump dance in front of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is that or should you just go for it?
You know what? If I were to contextualize this in high school terms, what this is like is if you have a group of weird kids, right?
Yeah.
And they get the sense that for a semester or maybe just a marking period that they're the popular kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize that they aren't the popular kids. They're just the weird kids. And I think a lot of people are recognizing that what they had thought was their reality is not the truth for, well, most of the country.
I think that's a great take. Going off of what you said, because we moved around all the time. So I was always the new girl. So I was never in a clique. I was just equal opportunity. Anybody would talk to me as the new kid. So I was in every group, you know what I mean?
I bet you were popular wherever you went.
And so, but I was just like, I just wanted to be everybody's friend. And so I didn't want. So to that point, though, in this case, the Democrats were like the mean girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the mean girls who told you that you're so ugly. I'm like, you're so ugly and stupid, and you cannot sit with us.
Yeah.
And then, but they didn't want to be told they're actually the mean girls.
And not only were they told they're not the mean girls, there was a pep rally that involved the whole school, and they got pie on their face in front of everybody.
Woo! Oh, I love that visual. That's a good one. But that's just my take on it. It's just, I think that's for conservatives. I don't want to put it smush it in anybody's face, even though that was a great visual.
It is nice, though, I feel.
855-839-1210. All right, I know. But I am happy. I love the happiness of it. It's just a relief. Like, thank God the election's over, but let's just thank God that, we're going to make America great again. And I'm excited about it. But I'm not, like, rubbing it in people's face. All right, he's giving me the break sign because
I will.
You know who's coming up? The great Elvis. I do have a little gift basket for our friend Linda. I haven't seen her. She gave me this gorgeous Italian wine, or not wine. It's actually
olive oil.
It's olive oil, but Nick Cale thought it was wine. We had to stop him from drinking his.
It shows how cultured we are here at 12 to WPHT.
But no,
we've never seen actual olive oil before.
I know. Well, I have.
Yeah, well, you have. You've seen it pressed
yes.
in Italy.
Woo.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Linda.
Looking all around, what did I see? Every school kid that could ever be. They come from Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Boston.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
Is your kitchen or bathroom in need of a makeover?
It's time to transform your home into a personal oasis with Emmons Remodeling.
Our expert team specializes in kitchen and bathroom renovations, creating beautiful, functional spaces you and your family will love. We handle everything from design to installation.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Give the gift of flavor this holiday season with Hatfield Pork. Whether you're hosting a big family gathering or cozy candlelit dinner, Hatfield bacon, ham, marinated tenderloins, ground pork, and sausage will transform your holiday meal into a savory celebration. Share the joy of great taste this season. Visit simplyhatfield.com for recipes and retail partners near you. Happy holidays from your friends at Hatfield.
Hey radio listeners, don't miss the Legacy Box Cyber Week sale going on now.
You've heard about Legacy Box all year long, and with our Cyber Week sale, now is the time to take advantage of our best sale of the year. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions.
That's right, it's our best sale of the year. Right now, when you go to LegacyBox.com, you can save an unreal 65% on your Legacy Box.
And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film reels, and photos for as low as $27, saving you hundreds.
Hurry, our best sale of the year won't last long. Visit LegacyBox.com for an unreal 65% off during our Cyber Week sale. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast.
Shop our Cyber Week sale now at LegacyBox.com/value to take 65% off. Buy your Legacy Box today and send in when you're ready. LegacyBox.com/value.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Washington said, I am not running again, because he understood the self-restraint was absolutely essential to this country, so you don't have a king. He did not pardon his son. He did not order the Department of Justice to say, don't prosecute my son.
Don't cry, Daddy. Daddy, please don't cry. Daddy, you still got me a little Tommy. Together we'll find a brand new mommy. Daddy, Daddy, please laugh again. Daddy, ride us on your back again. Oh, Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy, big guy. He's riding Hunter on his back again with the big pardon for sure. Thank you, Dan Borowski. Only Dan would mix the Elvis intro with everything that's going on topically. And, you know, still looking at these election results as we bask in the glow, do the Trump dance, do the YMCA dance, and bring in our great election integrity RNC attorney, Linda Kearns. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, Linda.
I did, Dawn, and I hope your listeners appreciate how they're getting exposed to a lot of different Elvis music. So culture. I think we're creating a lot of new Elvis fans.
It's not good.
It's culture. This is your culture, kids.
Hey, Dan, I don't
Cut
appreciate
in Grace
that.
Camp here, Linda. It's not that good.
I love it. I love it. No, it's all good. It's so first of all, thank you for the beautiful. This is a huge bottle from your Italy visits and from Campriano, right? So thank you for the beautiful note and the beautiful olive oil from Italia. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome. And when I heard Nick on the radio saying that he was going to drink it, I thought, oh my heavens! So that's why I texted you to let him know.
I'm trying to give all the 1210 hosts heart
That was
attacks.
awesome. That was the best. You know, as we know the numbers now, and even my gosh, you know, you think about this election now in the rearview mirror, but looking at, I mean, New Jersey, you know, who thunk it, right? When you think about what happened, it's important too to learn the lessons of the past election and everything that you were doing, because a lot of people, I don't know if they realize that you were working 24/7, even on weekends, training people in, and interactive with people on social media and even talk radio, you know, people calling in saying, this is happening, and you were in court constantly. Can we just do kind of a post-election analysis, what we all as citizens can learn from it, but what reforms you would propose. And I hope that they'll do a bipartisan, I don't know, maybe call you to testify and talk about some of this stuff.
Right. Well, I think that under Chairman Whatley's leadership, we realized how really bruised and battered Pennsylvania was, especially after 2020, especially after everything that happened where we just felt that like there was no transparency. They were changing the rules mid-game. The courts were weighing in and basically changing the laws that the legislature had passed. So we made a conscious decision this election cycle to combine both get out the vote, where you encourage people to register and vote. And we had a really robust program at the RNC, both registering new voters and also just getting out that vote, but also combining that with our election integrity program and just reminding people constantly and explaining to people constantly that we were there to protect the vote and explaining to them everything that we were doing. And also debunking a lot of the rumors that get out and the false information that gets out there so that people really understood what election integrity meant. And I think all that put together, along with the fact that we are Pennsylvania and we're an energy state and we felt almost abused by these Soros prosecutors and by these policies that the Democrats enacted that go against what Pennsylvania needs. I think all that together really helped us deliver the state for Donald J. Trump and the down ballot tickets, down ballot candidates, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, all kidding aside, as far as, kidding about the Elvis and giving people cultural lessons with music, I think there was a cultural lesson with regard to the past culture that was created under the Wolf administration. Then they used the pandemic, I think, to, as I said, the GOP got played last time around to loosen up those rules. But it was more than that, Linda. It was creating a culture, and we saw the culture on full display at that Bucks County Board of Commissioners meeting, where, thank God, one of the commissioners, who later apologized, said the quiet part out loud. And that, to me, was a revelation. It made national news, Linda, but it was a revelation that the culture was, I can do this, I can say this, because you're going to shut up. You're going to put up with this and shut up, and we're going to tell you what to do. I think that this was a referendum on that in part.
Right. Well, to me, none of that was new information because boards of elections had been voting like that. Philadelphia voted like that. They just didn't put all that nonsense on the record like that woman in Bucks County did. But this goes to basically demonstrate a point that I try to get across, that as important as it is to vote for president and senator in these national elections, I always say that your local elections influence your day-to-day life much, much more. I mean, down to not only your mayor, your district attorney, but also just people like the people we vote in as the commissioners at the boards of elections or city council, and even down lower than that, who's responsible for your own homeowners association. So next year we're going into 2025, it's municipal elections, and I find that those elections are just as important as presidential, but you'll see the participation rate dropped by probably over 50%. And I hope that with how excited people were about this election, it's going to carry over and we're going to see a lot more Republicans both turn up to vote, but also be involved in the process. If you were a poll watcher during 2024, you can contact a candidate that you are interested in and tell them you'll be a poll watcher for them, or contact your local party and tell them you'll be a poll watcher for them. So there's still opportunities, even when we don't have the full force and the resources of the RNC in these local elections.
And so what do you want people, in other words, with regard to setting precedents, because all these battles that you were fighting, right, to protect, well, you were not just trying to protect the vote, but protect the law, because that's really what you ended up doing. It wasn't creating new laws. It was just calling people out who were, I mean, technically they were breaking the law, right? And so what ramifications do they face? Because usually if I broke the law, right, I'd be charged or I would be censured or something. I would think but there seems to be no punishment for these people.
Well, the punishment for these elected officials should be that they get voted out of office next time around. But unfortunately, we don't always have the kind of robust participation in local elections like we do in these national elections. Now, you'll remember after COVID how interested people got in the school board elections because they really realized what was going on. It was something they weren't paying attention to. So I hope we see that in when all these people come up for election again. Now, I think most of them, it won't be for a couple of years, but I think that this is something that we need to keep in mind. In Pennsylvania, we have elections twice a year, every year. Every year we have a primary in the spring and we have a general election in the fall. Next year, I believe we should have some Supreme Court seats up. So there are elections that are absolutely going to matter, and we need to see a lot more participation. And also, remember, we're the ones who vote for our Pennsylvania Senate and Pennsylvania House candidates. They're the ones who come up with these election laws that the governor must pass. I realize right now we don't have a Republican governor, but I would like to see our legislature come up with some election law reforms so that we don't face some of these issues that we continue to face where every single thing ends up in court. If the law is well written, that shouldn't have to happen.
As far as, the term of weaponization of government, I've reported a lot on all the different cases against Trump, which it looks like, we have the dismissal of Trump's federal cases and that all goes away. But,
right.
What's your reaction to, yesterday, the White House statement that President Joe Biden is pardoning his son Hunter, and after repeatedly saying that no, he wouldn't? And do you think that in a way, then the current president, Biden, actually is solidifying and validating the fact that when Trump had talked about weaponization of government, isn't that exactly what Biden is saying?
Well, I was not surprised at all by that. And anyone who was surprised, I just wonder if they were paying attention. I mean, I just felt all along he was going to pardon him if his administration won the election, if he had stayed in, or whether I thought that was something that was going to happen. I mean, unfortunately, in a lot of these campaigns, people say things in order to get elected, and then when they don't follow through, people aren't paying as much attention. So I hope that people are paying attention now to what these people say when they campaign for office, and then hold them to it, hold them to their promises when they get into office. I hope we see, I really do hope we see a lot more of that to hold our leaders accountable. And, the hard part, obviously, there was the hard part in getting Trump elected, but I think that his hard part is starting now because he has a lot of work to do. But I am really confident in his administration, especially the great people that he's picking. And that's a lot of times what I remind people, because sometimes people might not like the person at the top. Mm-hmm. They say, well, I'm not sure, President Trump is someone I would want to be president. But remember, you're not just voting for the president, you're voting for all the people that administration appoints. And we're absolutely seeing that now, that, when you vote for the president, you're also voting for the Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of Defense, the entire cabinet. So, and I think that's just really important for people to remember about how our government works. I loved hearing this morning you guys do that civics quiz, because I think that is something that we need a lot more of. People need to understand how all of this works, how our government works. We're so privileged to live in this country, but we should understand how it works and be the voice that we're allowed to have. I think there are 3 vacancies yet as Trump winds down the cabinet picks. Were there any that you personally were surprised by? Any of those picks that have been named? I don't know. I don't necessarily. No, I don't think so. I was thrilled about Pam Bondi. I know Pam, and I think that she's really going to be a great attorney general. So I'm really excited about that. I think that she's going to be a rule of law attorney general. So that's something that I think that our country needs. And I thought that was a really brilliant pick. But I do try to stay. I understand what my role is. My role is elections. And obviously I have personal opinions on a lot of things, but I was really careful throughout this process because what the RNC, hires me to do is election integrity and not necessarily, deliver the personal message of Linda Kearns.
Do you expect, as far as election integrity, that will become an issue even in municipal elections, upcoming elections, even for November of 2026, as far as a point of topic, and that there will be even further adjustments from, because you mentioned the legislature, that there will be further adjustments with regard to some of, shoring up some of these loopholes?
I hope so. I mean, it's going to take our legislature to propose bills and then to see if the government will sign them and the governor will sign them. And it's going to take compromise because we do have a Democrat governor, but there are some reforms that are needed so that every single time something happens, we're not running to court. Our election code says that the voter shall fill out, date, and sign, and yet that one single phrase, fill out, date, and sign, has just become the subject of so many different lawsuits. It's just ridiculous that we go back to court on what it means to date your ballot. When I think that task that you do, sitting down and filling out your ballot and then dating and signing it, is so important, that you are thoughtfully signing the outside of your ballot, dating the date that you actually did it before you return it to the election office. That's a procedure that I think is so important, yet Democrats seem to want to chip away at every single election integrity provision that we have in our election code.
Well, because I infer the reason they did that was they're trying to make it fair and kind of equal to as if you were there in person on election day. When you go and you sign, they turn the book around, you sign the thing, right? So they're trying to mimic some of the topical, election day stuff, right? I'm assuming that's why they're trying to make that equal.
Yeah, sure. And also, I mean, I can't even think of a time when you sign your name when there's not a date attached to it. I mean, even when you sign a credit card slip, the date is printed out on it. So, because it comes right out of the register, and then the date that you signed it. Additionally, it has served a purpose. There was one prosecution where a woman had filled out her mother's ballot after the date after her mother had died, and was caught that way. Additionally, when there's a mail ballot, you just never know who's going to get that mail ballot. And this way, if it gets returned and there's a date on it, and then you can say, and you don't believe you're the one who signed it, you can say, well, I know I didn't sign it because this is what I was doing on that day. So I do believe that the date has a really important role in that ballot. And I know that there's people who don't agree. I mean, Secretary of State Al Schmidt has come out many, many times, and even in court, saying he doesn't think that the date is necessary. I don't think that's his role to say whether or not the date is necessary. He's part of the executive branch. He should just be carrying out the laws that the legislature has enacted. But I do think that those types of procedures that you go through, make sure that you are thoughtful and that you go through the same procedures that you would as if you showed up on election day. If you remember, when this first came out in 2019, when this law was enacted, you not only had to write out the date, you had to write out your address.
Yes.
But the legislature realized that people just were not following directions, and then they took that off the envelope. And because the law just says fill out, date, and sign, they could do that. So I think our law needs to be very specific about what is on that envelope, what the voter needs to do in order to make sure that envelope is something that will absolutely be considered a valid ballot and will be counted. So we do have a lot of work to do in this legislature, and we'll also have to see if our governor is going to cooperate.
Yeah, it just seems like a cumbersome process. And I'm assuming that, when we hear about ballots that somebody filled out improperly and then they contact them, we, the taxpayers, we're paying for all that, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing that's not even in our election code. There is nothing in our election code about this ballot curing process. Mm-hmm. That is something that has been completely made up by the different boards of elections, and not every county does it, which is another one of my big complaints with our current election code. That, like in Philadelphia, they notify you, or they put a list out on the website, and then they try to notify you if they have contact information if you filled out the outside of your ballot incorrectly. But a lot of the counties don't do that, and that is something that needs to be uniform. Yeah. Either we're going to allow this type of curing process or we're not. And if we allow it, the way that we contact you is going to be uniform throughout the whole county and throughout the whole state. So we need a lot more uniformity in Pennsylvania, so that, I like to say that whether you root for the Eagles or you root for the Steelers, your ballot should be treated the same. There's no reason why, depending on the county where I live, I should be allowed to cure or not cure, or they're going to let me not sign it properly. So we really need that kind of uniformity across the state. And that's what I would like to see. And it's going to take time. It's nothing that's going to be immediate. So it's something that we're going to have to really work on. But in the meantime, as individuals, I would like voters to remember, number one, show up in these municipal elections. I live in Philadelphia, so even I vote in primaries, even though I don't always have a lot of choice in Philadelphia. And certainly not in municipal elections. In the general election, there's very rarely even any Republicans on the ballot, but I still show up every single time, and I'd like to see voters do that. And if you were a poll watcher this time, you can show up and be a poll watcher next time. Just contact a candidate to be a poll watcher. If you were lucky enough to get appointed as a minority inspector, your term is, you can go through next year. You can show up again next year and be a minority inspector. And next year is also the time when we run for those positions. I know a lot of people don't realize this, but the people who check you in on election day, the people who are monitoring the poll book and then show you how to go into the voting booth, they're people that we elect, and we're going to elect them next year. So they will be on your ballot. So, contact your local party to find out how to run for that position, so you can be a worker on election day. I think that those roles are really, really important. And the more that you do it, the more you realize what goes into it and just the importance of all the procedures. I've heard that from a lot of the people that we did recruit, that they were so glad that they learned so much about how the whole system works.
So do you get I don't know, a cabana at Mar-a-Lago, like just to relax? Do you get any downtime after this hectic election season?
Well, I do have a law practice, so I do have to go back to my law practice. But as far as what you'll see me do, I think the answer is stay tuned for that. Ooh. I do have other election law work. I represent the Public Interest Legal Foundation, and we do what's called voter roll work to make sure that states are maintaining their voter rolls. We have a case in Pennsylvania. We're waiting for the Third Circuit to rule. It's something we've been fighting Pennsylvania for years on them revealing their process as to how non-citizens got on the voter rolls in Pennsylvania and how they were ultimately removed. So a lot of the work that I do is, 24, it's no longer 24 hours a day, but it's definitely 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You don't just do election law work around elections. In fact, if that's if that's your plan to only do it around elections, you don't get the kind of results that you need. Election law work can be tedious, but it really needs to go on all of the time to just constantly make sure that there's eyes on the process and that there's reforms when we need them.
Yeah, and that's publicinterestlegal.org, because I know I'm going to get asked that any moment.
Yeah, Public Interest Legal Foundation, right.
And it's if you look at the top, it says deceased registrants identified, 349,000 nationally, duplicate registrants nearly 38,000 nearly, and registrants listing non-residential addresses 34,000. I know that was a big issue and I saw reports across the country where people were putting, a restaurant or a place of business or an empty lot as their home address.
Right. And that's always a big issue, to maintain the voter rolls and keep the voter rolls keep the voter rolls clean. And it comes up and it's highlighted a lot in these presidential elections, but it's something that's really important in every single election. And a lot of the reporters, like from the mainstream media, they'll say, oh, well, this was never enough to change the outcome of an election. But when it is enough to change an outcome of the election is in these off years, when you're voting for a mayor or a city council person, when those when those elections are won by just a few votes. So that the work that we do impacts every type of an election, it's not limited to simply federal elections. So that's why it's so important to just continue to do it all years, not just presidential years. And it's work that I do love. So I am very privileged to be able to do this kind of work. Not everybody who gets into law can do the kind of work that they really like. And by the way, I was really honored, Dom Giordano nominated me to be his local person of the year on Twitter.
Yes.
So I hope people vote for me. I have that up on my Twitter account, Linda Kearns Law. But it's not. Yeah, well, no. This better be a fair election because I'll be auditing the whole thing, Dan. But you're not just voting for me, though. I had the most incredible team at the Republican National Committee. Our staffers, everybody was just so awesome and so dedicated and worked around the clock like me, answered calls any time of the day or night, was always there to help, was always there to go the extra mile. I mean, my hat's off to the Republican National Committee for who they were able to recruit for these roles, because they were real patriots and really dedicated to making sure that this election was fair and honest. And I was privileged to work with them. So if you do vote for me for Person of the Year, it's not just for me. You're voting for all of my colleagues at the Republican National Committee, who I am so proud to work with.
I endorse Linda. Vote for Linda.
Thank you, Dawn.
What's the differential that you need to face, say, like a automatic audit? Because I don't know if we're going to need that with how the vote's currently going, Linda.
Well,
I know you're being humble over
who,
here, but it's kind of a blowout, to say the least.
As someone who appreciates the rule of law, I would look to whatever rules that you guys established in this election. That's what I do as an election integrity attorney. I look at what the law says. So to answer those questions, I have to look at whatever rules and laws you guys established. So I'm not sure you guys did that, or you just threw a poll up and just thought, we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I don't want to speak for Dom, but maybe, what is it, like a 3% might trigger a recount? But not a, what is this, a 40%, 50% understand? Yeah.
Well, Linda Kearns, and keep us posted on that Butler County Board of Elections. That I assume that's one of them that you had filed. That's October 30th, right before Halloween, the mail ballot curing issue. So I hope you keep us posted on that one. That's the one before the state Supreme Court.
Yep.
So I can't wait to hear how they rule. Linda, thank you. Until next time, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you both, and enjoy the olive oil that I brought from Italy. That is, the pure stuff right from the olive oil farm. So
I actually use some, and there's like a major difference.
Yeah.
Both me and my wife were noting that between the store-bought Costco olive oil that we usually deal with versus the stuff that you brought us. Thank you, Linda.
Good. And just to note, I gave that to you guys before that poll went up. So it's not like I gave that to you during the election to try to influence the results. So just remember that. I had no idea that poll was going to go up on Twitter.
Linda, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Yeah, that was right. I forgot about that, actually. So I'm glad that she mentioned it, the amicus that was filed with the mail ballot curing procedures in Pennsylvania. So that'll be a big deal when and if, I don't know when that's going to happen with the state Supreme Court, but we will track that for you. And yes, if you want to talk about I'll have to pull up a video that I got in Italy of one of the women who was at one of the, where they press it. In Italy, it's a huge deal if you ask somebody about olive oil that you buy in Costco, the look that you will get. You'll never, like, it's fake. It's not real.
What is it?
I don't even know.
Vegetable oil?
It's probably like seed oil or God only knows.
Yeah.
Because it's not really, unless it's from 100% from Italy or 100% from the country of origin. That's what they tell you. So got to watch that for sure, right? Speaking of the real deal, we got to talk about Piazza. And there's no greater time of year to give back than this season, the season of giving, the holiday season. And that's why my friends from Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're partnering right now with the Salvation Army for the Piazza Toy Drive. Once again this year, you can visit any of the Pennsylvania or Delaware Piazza Premium showrooms, and that's through December 16th. I hope you do this and just donate a new unwrapped toy. Your support is going to help make the holidays a little bit brighter for a local child. Find the dealership nearest you. You can check them out online, piazzapremiumautos.com, Piazza, piazzapremiumautos.com. Thank you. Happy holidays. Tell them Dawn sent you.
A cold air mass is in place through the work week with high temperatures below average. Today, a mixture of sunshine and clouds with a high only up around 40. For tonight, another cold night, mostly clear, low 26 for the city, colder out in the suburbs. And for Tuesday, partly sunny and still chilly with a high near 42.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. One of the biggest and healthiest sales of the year is back again. Rescue Natural Supplements Black Friday sale is here, and right now, Rescue is slashing prices on every supplement with discounts up to an incredible 80% off. Rescue has a wide variety of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. Grab huge savings on omega-3s, probiotics, and a lot more, so get shopping now. This Rescue Black Friday sale ends Monday at midnight. Shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are up to 80% off until Monday at midnight. So why wait? Shop massive savings on essential supplements at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Do it today.
This Merrill Reese update is brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
After a dismal first quarter, the Eagles sprung back to life and beat the Ravens in Baltimore 24-19. Saquon Barkley had another 100-yard-plus running game. They also got a boost from Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, who missed 2 makeable field goals and an extra point. So the Eagles have boosted their record to 10-2, and next week they're home at the Link against the Carolina Panthers. With the Eagles, this is Merrill Reese.
As a bank, PNC prides themselves on being boring, but the truth is they couldn't be more excited to serve the dynamic greater Philadelphia community. For nearly 160 years, they've quietly toiled away to deliver brilliant results for their equally brilliant clients. PNC has dedicated teams throughout the local area, all ready to do the boring work to help you unlock your own brilliance. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years.
He was in big trouble.
We're going to take your house, garnish your pay.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm.
I don't owe the IRS anymore. It was because of Optima Tax.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
Looking for that unique gift or hard-to-find collectible? Look no further than Nicholas Smith Trains and Toys. Nicholas Smith has over 60,000 items for you to shop at both NicholasSmithTrains.com and NicholasSmithToys.com. But come into the store on Westchester Pike Broomall and get lost in old and new technology. Pretend play, RC and slot cars, Western play, Madame Alexander dolls, mechanical robots, superhero action figures, Playmobil, Lego, Disney, and much, much more. Right off the Blue Route, visit Nicholas Smith Trains and Toys this holiday or any day.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Honey, bags are packed and in the trunk. Is the car good to drive to Mother's holiday dinner?
Yes, dear. Car's good. We have Ox Car Care for their extended car service plan. Ox covers our repair bills if anything happens. We have no worries if any problems come up on our holiday travels. Ox Car Care has our back.
I remember. Ox has flexible coverage plans that can protect issues with engine, transmission, brake systems, and so much more.
Yep, we don't pay. Ox pays. Ox gets it fixed for us. Joe at the auto shop says Ox Car Care pays them directly, and there's no complicated paperwork. Ox is A+ rated, with already millions of dollars paid out in claims.
Right. They handled our claim from start to finish, unlike those other companies. Good call. The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill this holiday. The only thing now is, which pie is Aunt Martha making?
Drive with absolute peace of mind this holiday season. Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-458-0279. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox today. 800-458-0279. 800-458-0279. Or oxcarcare.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
This is what I picture Rich Zioli. He's always grocery shopping during this
Always.
hour. He has like
every
earbuds
day.
in.
Like once a day.
He's looking at moms in yoga pants. I don't know.
Is
Wegmans.
that why he goes?
Oh, we love Rich. It's Cyber Monday. It's also tryptophan. Is that how you say it? Tryptophan. I was like, why am I like so sleepy? Because it's all that turkey.
Hold on. I feel like
tryptophan.
You go. Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Is how I'm feeling too.
Right?
But I feel like you go to the grocery store before Thanksgiving, then you stock up, and then you have leftovers for a week. So why is he already at the grocery store this Monday after
Moms
Thanksgiving?
in yoga pants.
Okay.
'Cause
He's being
maybe
genuine
a
when he
little,
says it. Okay.
Dad entertainment. I don't know. 855-839-1210. So we're talking, there's so much going on, and we've been trying to sprinkle in, yes, all the news, national news, local news, but your calls as well. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We have, Frank in South Philadelphia. See, Frank, we can't get Zioli to call in. He's texting us about the olive oil. But I know that you, an authentic Italian, know all about authentic olive oil.
Correct. There's three companies, basically three Italian companies you could go to. One company is Cento, the other one's Rosa brand, and here in South Philadelphia is Rosa Company.
Mm-hmm.
And multiple between pasta, olive oil, and all kinds of Italian products.
Okay.
Those are the two main companies that we used to do business for about 50 years. over here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, because Don, I looked at the
And,
company that Linda gifted us, and I don't think you can have it shipped to America. I think she had to go there to Italy, bring it back with her. So, Frank, you're telling us that down in South Philly, you can actually go get some authentic Italian olive oil and bring it home with you?
That is correct. At Graceberry Avenue over there at I forget the exact address, off of Washington Avenue, the end of Washington Avenue. If you make a left, you'll see a 2-acre lot with the Rosa Company right there.
There's nothing I enjoy more than getting directions from a true Italian guy. Take a left. Yep.
Hey, Dawn, if you go to Italy, you go to Casparina, a town close next to where I was born at, which is Badolato. There's a company that actually does the oil from the olive trees all along the mountain over there.
Well, you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I was there.
Yeah, she was there in person, Frank.
Now this from Linda is Toscano, right? But this one,
correct.
But yeah, and then the worst part here's the worst part: when you go and then you bring back all this stuff, but then you consume it all, but you're supposed to give it out to people.
Yeah, well,
you know,
you
got to get extra.
I buy products and I give it out. There's a cheese that I buy about 10 wheels in Christmas time, and it's called Piccolino Calabrese, and it's also produced here in Italy in the town of where I used to live at, and it's only about 3-4 pounds each roll,
Nice.
each block.
You got the gabagool dry in there?
Well, I keep telling you, Dan, you got to come down to my canteen that I have and see
gotta
the
do this.
gabagool, particularly in the month of January when we actually do it. You know, if you're
cool
more
to
than
see.
welcome, anybody from the station there is more than welcome to come down in and film it, whatever you want to do.
Maybe
it.
get some video, bring it back on the Dawn Show? That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, we should do that.
You can, and you get a little taste of homemade wine, And hey, Dawn, the reason why I called here today, I normally have I never have a bad day, only bad moments, but I think I have both today because President Joe, that doesn't know, pardoned his son Hunter Biden, and then I'm sure I'm not the only one that when you get ordered from the from the IRS, which I did early 2000. And it was almost $10,000, and the IRS representative or agent, whatever they're called, came to my house and did the audit, and it wound up being almost $10,000. And he gave me 3 options to pay. One was payment paying, one to go borrow the money, and one that I did myself or my wife did. We took out a credit card and had a monthly payment with the credit card. Now, when you have to pay the IRS directly, they charge you 7.5% back then. I don't know what it is today, but that's the problem. And I had quite a few friends of mine that went to jail for tax evasion or whatever the case may be. Just like the one I just seen on Fox News, there was a police officer in Baltimore. They went to jail for, I think, 275 days, plus paid $67,000 that he owed or whatever that they claimed he owed. And he served time. But here's a guy that went internationally and brought back or sent back all this money, got all this money from all these countries. The family, the Biden family received or alleged, whatever the case may be right now. And he's not serving not one day.
Well, Frank,
how does that make the taxpayers of our country, that you could turn around and get pardoned from a president, and it's your family that you pardon?
Yeah, well, I mean, now this is a simple deduction, and everybody should know this. Hunter Biden, according to the authorities, he was deducting as a business deduction $106,000. He was writing off his, and I'm quoting from a newspaper report, he was writing off his business expenses, and these were sex workers and pole dancers and whatnot. $106,000. So that's your business expense right there, Frank. You never wrote that off?
Yeah, I wrote off business expenses because I had a business. But
these were not
the problem.
Here's
the problem I'm having, Dawn.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that turned around and brought back all this money for the family. He didn't pay a little over $1 million in taxes, correct? Even though he wrote off whatever he wrote off, and I wrote off whatever I wrote. Here's a guy that is not going to serve a day in jail, and probably didn't pay that over $1 million. But the guy, the officer, he was a police officer, mind you, in Baltimore. It was just on Fox News. When I seen that, I just said, well, look, this is the one day of my life that I have a bad day, and I do have bad moments with this situation.
Yeah,
I can't flip my head around that.
Yeah, and I do think you're right, is Frank, and I thank you so much, my dear, and I hope you had a wonderful
Before you let
Thanksgiving.
Frank go, can I just ask you one quick question?
Well, let me just say one. Just hold that question. Don't forget it. Really quick.
Sure.
Taxes. The fact that the tax code is so crazy, and they have new rules coming in all the time, and we can't just like fill out a postcard or whatever. They make it so difficult that to the point of that cop, I don't know if he had a bunch of overtime. And it was you know what I mean? Whatever happened with his taxes, but it should not be that crazy that people make these huge mistakes and then end up in jail. You know? Go ahead, Dan.
He was a police officer in Baltimore, Maryland. He was on Fox News himself, and he explained the situation. They 275 days in jail and he pleaded guilty, just like Hunter did. He pleaded guilty. And he served 275 days. It was on Fox News just this morning. And I was watching, and I said, wow, wait a minute. A police officer serving 275 days, and the possibility that anything could happen to him in that prison. That's absurd. But anyway, listen, I'll be calling you up before Christmas.
Okay.
And any more that you need to know in regards to food, any food in the food business, just give me a buzz. Jim has my telephone number.
Frank, before you go, real quick question for you, man. Jimmy Minnelli's doubting that you're a true South Philly Italian. How do you say the word multiple? Say the word multiple.
Multiple.
Uh-oh.
I'll be honest with you. I came here when I was 6 years old.
Oh,
and I forgot,
okay.
You have to get an Italian teacher in order to turn around and to speak the true grammar of Italian.
He says it's mullable. It's mullable, not multiple.
Yeah, when I went back 40 years ago for my honeymoon, I couldn't understand the different dialects. See, I'm Calabrese. I was born in Calabria, and when I was in Rome, I a lot of words, multiple words, I didn't understand because. As a kid, I came in when I was 6 years old. I never had no education here in Italy.
Calabria's beautiful. I was there. All right, Frank, we'll continue the conversation, my dear. Thank you. God bless. He's referring to, I think he's referring to former Baltimore police. Is it Daryl D'Souza? He went to federal prison for failing to file his tax returns and served. So he's 54 from Baltimore, Maryland. I think that's who he's talking about. But it was, what was it? He had to do 100 hours of community service, and he had to pay restitution. It was $67,000. So I think the point of Fox News interviewing him is saying, you know, maybe here's somebody that was a cop and had $67,000 that he didn't claim. And then you have somebody like Hunter Biden, you know, who's allegedly didn't pay much more than that. 855-839-1210. Quick break. Yes. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. I can't recommend enough my friend and dentist, Dr. Mike Veneria at Veneria Dental. But I also want to share a little secret with you. You know, we're in the final stretch of 2024. Did you know you could possibly have dental insurance benefits expiring soon? Come January, most benefits reset. So if you've been putting off getting that dental procedure done, now is the time to schedule your appointment and use any remaining benefits for 2024. Dr. Mike's office will help you work through all of it, so just give them a call. Dr. Mike Veneria is the master of implant dentistry. His level of care and commitment to dental excellence is unmatched. And if you're nervous to go to the dentist, don't be. Dr. Mike and his staff makes your dental experience simple. He's been named a top dentist in New Jersey for 10 consecutive years. He's respected among his peers as being a master of dental implants. And yes, he's my family dentist. So stop putting off seeing a dentist or getting that complex dental procedure done, and don't waste those benefits. Taking care of your teeth is so important to your overall health. So call his office at 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com. That's VANARIA, veneriadental.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealestate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
Inflation, recession, interest rates, the Fed. How do you make sense of it all? Join Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
There's no need to wait. The time is always right at Colonial Hyundai. Hi, it's John Ashdale, the Cars Are. Today's the best day to buy a new car at Colonial. We have over 200 vehicles in stock. New Palisades, Konas, Tucsons, and the exciting EVs that have taken the world by storm, the Ioniq 5 and 6. We understand that everyone's needs, budgets, and challenges are different. But here at Colonial, we take the stress out of buying a new car. Big incentives, like $6,500 for your trade, guaranteed no matter the condition. The best financing in the business, no matter your credit, with rates as low as 0%. Plus, we streamline the buying process so you can be in and out of our dealership in no time without any unnecessary hassle or waiting. So why wait? Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com or visit us on Lincoln Highway in Downtown. Colonial Hyundai, the faster, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai.
0% financing applies on select 2024 new Hyundai models. $6,500 for your trade, not available on EVs. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for more details.
This is Dr. Mary Ann Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
From your kitchen table to our airwaves, the Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Ooh, little Trump dance to some nice little Latina music. It's nice on a Monday, Cyber Monday. Hey, just wrapping up really quick here. Frank jogged my memory. This is the former Baltimore. He was actually the police commissioner. This is Darryl D'Souza. That's who went to federal prison, and so he had. It was a very. If you look at the case, it was very comparable to Hunter Biden's case. That's why Fox, and they've been bringing him up ever since Hunter's accusations and charges came. But in that case, I'm just saying that D'Souza, what they had him on was. They said that he was filing for, he said he had a mortgage. So he took out mortgage expenses, business expenses, but he didn't have a mortgage and he didn't have business expenses. So it was a case that went on for years and years. So, and they're comparing it with, saying, look, this is apples and apples to the Hunter Biden case. He went to prison for nearly a year. So it's a good comparison for sure. 855-839-1210. By the way, I had referred to this and I didn't get into it. Delaware County, the latest, and it's a Todd Shepard, Broad and Liberty investigative piece as they look at the numbers. But it looks like Delco, congratulations, Delco, you voted for Democrats. I have some of you are my relatives. And now your taxes that already went up 5% last year, it looks like they're going to go up about 28+%. Yeah, that's your local taxes and now they're trying to say, oh no, it's the past, it's the Republicans from the past, but they're pushing back on that one. So congratulations, you get what you deserve. You vote that way. 855-839-1210. Let's get to Ed and Delran. Are you working on a poem for us? Maybe it's.
Oh, you know it.
Is
dear.
this a birthday poem for Dan? It's Dan Borowski's birthday.
Again?
It's Dan Borowski's birthday.
Yeah, rhyme Borowski for me today, Ed.
Oh, listen, that's a real tough one. There's some words you can't rhyme with, but the first name's much easier. Dan will always give you a proper plan, and it's always easy to understand.
Well, that's debatable, but thank you, Ed. A lot of hosts would say otherwise.
Dawn, you're still one of the best, always getting put to the test.
Oh, thank you. Did you have a happy Thanksgiving? Thank you,
happy
Ed.
Thanksgiving to you, and Merry Christmas. And, I'm going to call you back to say it again, because it's Christmas in America again.
Hey, Ed, do you sit at the Thanksgiving table making up rhymes for your family?
Oh, my wife can't stand the rhymes. A lot of people, I got to shut up a lot around her.
So this isn't only a caller thing. This is like a real life Ed's making rhymes all the time kind of thing.
Sweet.
Yep, constantly. So, look, awesome. I'm going to give you guys a phenomenal analogy. You're going to love this. And that is that Donald Trump isn't even in office yet. He's already playing the chess game. And Biden, he's in office, and he can't even play the game of checkers.
Well,
I was expecting a rhyme there. I'm kind of disappointed.
I know. It's like,
every time we talk about it, I think it's going to rhyme with something. And then when it doesn't, it's kind of a letdown, I got to say.
I rhyme a lot of times, but I don't rhyme all the time because you guys are so hot. You're in your prime.
Thank you, Ed.
I think we got to, for the new year, we got to have, thank you, my dear. We got to get to Dom, but I think for the new year, Ed and Delran should have to do like a haiku. You know what I mean? Instead of a rhyme, we got
more structure.
Little challenge, like a haiku with Borowski in it. Let's start giving him challenges.
Borowski, that's 3 syllables.
Borowski, yeah.
3 of your 5 already taken up.
Dom Giordano. Dom, we were talking about Dom in that poll with Linda Kearns. And the question came up, Dom, did you write the rules? Do you have some, because are there elections?
Yeah, Linda was saying that she was going to trigger an audit, and I said, well, it's kind of a runaway here. Would you really want to do that? She goes, well, what are the rules here? What triggers a recount? What's the percentage difference?
Nothing. We decide at that point, yeah.
No, so it's King Dom. You're like a king. You just decide. It's not democracy.
No, it's not.
Well, it's based on the vote still, right?
Yeah, it's based on the vote.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, we can't certify them. I don't know if the Russians are voting or not. Linda Kearns is leading overwhelmingly, though.
And can Linda argue for herself in court here? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. So, Dawn, you have Jeff Van Drew. Really wanted to get him on a couple of matters, including the pardon, but also the governor's race. And the most poignant, the best piece I've read today about Hunter Biden from National Review really shows how bad this guy is and why he